As you can see, the stage is getting set up right now. Let's actually talk first about the European roster. They are sat down, locked in. They're hoping to continue their elimination bracket journey. And Quadrant, they have been absolutely fantastic all season long. The growth has been there. I think they've really started to solidify themselves as one of the best teams in the HCS, you know, forgetting and leaving that kind of European, I think, problem behind them. You know, so long in the history of Halo, Europe was kind of not considered to be a contender at times, and now I think with Halo Infinite and especially with Quadrant, that table's completely turned around, Tony. So for Quadrant right now, going up against Sentinels, it's something that they, you know, I think they're feeling pretty comfortable with right now. They have been against the best of the best before.
Yeah, I mean, they've always known that they're, you know, a top 3, top 4 team in the league, and they really put everybody else on notice. I'm pretty sure you talk to everybody in the audience, they'll tell you Quadrant are the real deal, where, like you said, sometimes European Halo has been overlooked at times. So really happy to see Quadrant, you know, as deep as they are so far in this tournament, but the job is not done yet, because the same way that you're a real threat, so are Sentinels. Sentinels have made it to a grand finals this year. This is not going to be an easy matchup for you.
It's not. Clutch, who are you looking at right now on Quadrant? Who are you looking to go off and have a great series here?
I mean, I sound redundant, but it's got to be Legend. He's the best player in this series, in my opinion. And if he falters at all, if he starts slow, Quadrant are going to be in trouble. If you lose to FaZe and you lose to SSG, it's one thing. You have to beat teams like Sentinels to gain some sort of momentum, because your elimination bracket life is on the line.
It certainly is indeed. On the other side of the stage, though, we do have Sentinels who are getting themselves prepped, ready to go. And I think Quadrant is going to be a difficult match for them. I do think that Quadrant are a serious contender in this series. And Tony, what do you think Sentinels need to kind of pull out of the bag of their magic tricks, deep dive into to try and get this dub?
Well, where I feel confident with Sentinels is in games where they're going to be able to slow the game down. So I think like the Oddballs and the King of the Hills, I really feel confident with Sentinels with those game types. But when it comes to like the strongholds or the capture the flags, where they're really going to have to dominate that mid-map and beyond and get onto the offensive, that's where Quadrant shines. So it's going to be a tough matchup for you either way, but I think Sentinels do have that experience on their side, and that's one thing that I tend to lean on in close matchups. Who has the most experience? Who has that been there, done that type of mentality?
Yeah, I think experience is going to be key, and to be perfectly honest, so much experience on our screens right here. Spartan, I think for me, Spartan is going to be a huge key to this success. I think you look at him and the way that he performs and plays consistently, it is of such a high level. No matter if they win or lose, you already know Spartan has it down. He is so unbelievably impressive, not only just making incredible plays, but he seals them off, right? He manages to take those plays and turn them into something that is well executed and often is very pivotal for a map or a series. Now with Spartan, how are you feeling that impacts the rest of the team, Wes? When Spartan is popping off, things are going well, they've got control. I feel like the other three fly. Yeah,
there's a lot of damage that comes out of it, a lot of space you're around to play around, but the mentality, the vocals that Spartan brings, when he starts barking, everybody on the team feels that energy. Everybody starts to roll, right? That's such an important vibe to set throughout a series, is to make sure that everybody knows that you're popping off. Spartan's one of the best we have on the circuit to bring confidence to his team that they are still in it or they are rolling. And when that happens, great players will step up. Falcated, Booba they will start to shine because of the opportunities that Spartan gives them, not just in the server, but mentally as well. These two teams actually matched up at Arlington, and Quadrant pretty much squeaked by a couple of games, but they did get the better of Sentinels throughout that series. Sentinels cannot have forgotten how Quadrant play, and like Tony said, this pace is going to be a lot for Sentinels to handle, something we've seen them struggle with in the past. I'm looking at players like Spartan the Dog to slow that pace down for Sentinels, because Quadrant come at you fast.
Yeah, indeed. I've got to say a follow-up to that though, Wes, while I still quickly have you, is that I look at Spartan, but I also see a little bit of Spartan in Falcated at certain times. I do see Falcated start to really take over and become the kind of nuisance, the difficult player for the opposition. You know, we do see duos happening quite a lot. whether that honestly rotates around in a team, walking together, running together, whatever it may be, being able to get kills at the same time and kind of pop up. You see on Optic, see on FaZe, see on SSG. You want to see that on Sentinels. I'm actually yet to really see that. I often see individuals popping off. I don't really see duos popping off often. Are you looking at Spartan and Fel to do that? I mean, do you have a different duo in mind?
No, those are the Slayers on this team. Those are the guys that get the kills on this team. The guys that pick up the power weapons and go to work. They're the playmakers. Weethel and Boo are the cerebral players on this team that will finesse their lives, that will buy time, that will be such a nuisance to deal with. It's Falcated and Spartan that are typically your highlight reels waiting to happen. And when they're popping off, good things happen for Sentinels fans.
Certainly do indeed. I've got to say, both sides of the stage, though, are going to be primed to take this series. I'm hoping for a very close one here. I think it's going to be an absolute brawl. We are, as you can see, waiting for Sentinels to get things ready to make sure they're comfortable. They've just come off the featured station after a grueler against Shopify Rebellion there as well. So they're going to be getting things set up.
Elimination quarterfinals time, folks. Quadrant up against Sentinels. Europe's last hope at a top 4 finish at the Halo World Championships. And for Sentinels, what better place and what better team to get some revenge on?
And Sentinels are looking fiery at the moment after a victory, a 3-1 victory over Shopify Rebellion on the side station. Will they be able to take down Quadrant? Remember last time we saw these guys going up against each other, it was a battle for top 3.
Yep.
And now we're going to see it being a battle for top 4 instead. But this should be an incredible series. We briefly saw the series layout there, and I think it actually favors Sentinels.
Well, one thing we can say is, in the past, these two teams have, in order to get onto the street, in order to get into the top 4, you had to play an SSG, an Optic, or a FaZe. But both teams here will fancy their chances against one another.
Yes, they will. They'll want to shut down the opposition to find themselves within that top 4, getting themselves into Championship Sunday here at the Halo World Championships. Solitude, King of the Hill, is where we start. We're locked, we're loaded, as he'd say, shields up, weapons up. It's time to get going.
We're on their way then. On board with SLG. Snipe in hands. Boo puts a couple of shots down and leaves the area very quickly. S4 is the destination. Getting hassled and harried from just below him. Spartan will get the kill, looks up. 2 fresh bursts will take down SLG. Slays favor Sentinels for the moment. As they step inside the hill, they would really like to try and control loop here.
It's a 50% win rate for Quadrant on this mapping mode throughout the season. 75% win rate for Sentinels. And again, that's just because it's one of these games where you can really slow it down. Quadrant seem to excel in the games which are a little bit more fast-paced, where they can rotate accordingly. Whereas Sentinels, they like to lock down any sort of setup that they can find. And certainly in the early stages, they've not really been able to get control of top middle. As at the moment, it's Quadrant scoring.
Spartan hits some shots. Drops down to finish up the pieces. Legend on silo. Spartan using the Quadrant skin on the sniper rifle. Obviously scooped up off SLG. Almost a victim of their own undoing for Quadrant. Falcated now. Over towards Flowers. Backs up, backs away. Look to re-engage now over towards Light Rifle. Helping his teammate, working in tandem with Boo. Couple of shots go down. Nothing really landing. Spartan now on loop, feet planted, trying to line a few boys up in the scope.
Yeah, very evident that they're just trying to control glass at the moment to restrict Quadrant's chances of holding this top hill. Chick caught slightly unaware, but good reversal there to ensure he does shut down Spartan and shut down that control they had of glass. Certainly Sentinels have got the better of Quadrant in the early stages, but that's only for hill time. It's 10 for 10 in terms of slays. Very even to begin with on that front.
Lethal ensures blue spawns are blocked, at least for now. He steps away into the hill. Double stack inside. Quantum translocator has gone down. I believe it was Spartan who scooped it up. Legend over towards posters, down to no shields. Falcate will get the finishing touches on that one. As these two teams continue to trade back and forth, 3 dead now for Sentinels. But it's North American team who have the most progress in the hill so far. Seeking out over towards Yard. And they begin to score. What do Sentinels have to break the setup? They get the opening pick, 2 go their way, and this could be the chance to take the lead.
A lot of responsibility for Seeker then. SLG though does get a kill onto Lethal Kazoo. This isn't going to be a guaranteed hill, but Spartan somehow still alive. Eventually falls, but it's not going to matter. First hill still will go in favor of Sen. Booby Dooby was there, just gathering, gobbling up that hill time. Now they find themselves leading here. Boo Boo, who had a fantastic series against Shopify Rebellion, really seems to be finding his own and finding his footing here at the Halo World Championship. But can it carry on any further? Quadrant, who typically like to get in the faces of their opponents, they're struggling really to match Sentinels' pace at the moment because Sentinels really seem to slowing down the game.
Seeker still in yard. Nice damage to Spartan, who might choose to re-engage here. Here comes Falcated. Seeker's shields have just come back. 3 dead now for Sentinel. Spartan, position top gold, has to back away, has to give it up. Seeker's hitting some shots now. Quadrant closing in on leveling up this game. This reign of terror that Seeker's on continues. More damage output. 1-1 now the score.
And this is really good from Seeker. I mean, there's been a few times where we've seen Seeker on Solitude struggle a little bit, where he's kind of on his own, he gets caught out, he'll die sometimes 6-7 times in a row, and we're like, you know, is he going to be able to get back into the game? But that's the highs and lows of being that player who does try to go for those flanks, who does try to maraud a little bit as a solo. When it works, it looks incredible, but when it's going against you, you can look very flat.
SLG looking at a trade. Sentinels remain in the hill for now. Chick's trying to change that, trying to be an influence. As he looks to re-engage from a different angle, picking up the thruster pack along the way. Just to maneuver his hitbox in a time of need. Lethal on Silo will just get away for now. Gonna make himself a really difficult kill, and Chick doesn't know whether to stick or twist, but the teammates on hand to get the kill. Boo Boo now on posters, and Chick continues to fire down damage. His shield's looking pretty healthy for now. We're almost tied up in progress to this hill. Chick will eventually fall. Spartan now threatens to step inside the hill and building this lead.
Quadrant starting to edge ahead in the slays now, which is a little bit worrying for Sentinels, but a couple of kills make it 3 going in their favor. Suddenly gets them right back into this one. They can get a little bit of hill time. You can see they're desperately trying to find this last remaining player, but it's Chick playing his life excellently. Gets assisted then by a teammate. You'd think Seeker off spawn could have helped, but Spartan held strong.
Shots go down. Spartan continues to put down damage. 2-1 now the score. Sentinels regain the lead.
I mean, it's because it's a really difficult hill. If you are just a little bit behind, but you find yourself very close to losing that hill, you don't want to throw yourself into it because then you'll give up map control. Quadrant, very patient. They're more than happy to just give 1 point away because there is still plenty of time on this clock. Sometimes on Solitude, this game can kind of get away from you, and we've seen games won at just 2-1. We've even seen a game won at 1-0 actually on Solitude before. But Sen with a great push onto that snipe to shut down SLG, which is extremely important. Otherwise, if he had got going, might have just been what Quadrant needed. But now Quadrant firmly on the back foot, not only 2-1 down, but starting to lose slays as well.
A 1-0 King of the Hill win. Sounds like a Mourinho masterclass to me.
I'll give you one guess as to which team it was. It was Shopify, yeah. Who else but Ryan? And unfortunately for Shopify, they finished in top 8. They lost to Sentinels just mere moments ago on the side station. That's why Sentinels find themselves here in top 6, competing against Quadrant. 4 deaths for Quadrant, and Sentinels now with a chance to try and put this 3rd one in, which could be the final nail in the coffin with how Solitude goes sometimes.
Falcated continues to patrol Flowers, trying to provide a little bit of support for his team. Crossfire goes down. Seeker's getting a lot of damage. He loses his life. 3-1 now the score, and Sentinels are in cruise control.
Yeah, Sentinels can now just back it up a little bit. They can play in whichever way they want, really. Get aggressive and try and play the hill. Go for 4 if you are out slaying Quadrant. But if Quadrant start to excel a little bit in the slaying department, that's when you just take a step back, you watch a couple of angles, and you make sure you make it difficult for them to get into that next hill and start to use that shot clock to your own advantage.
Both teams with 45 kills right now. Neither one outslaying, but Sentinels have just been so objective efficient. And they hold a 3-1 lead. And even if Sentinel, or even if Quadrant, excuse me, are to capture this hill, we're going back to top middle. We know how difficult that can be to capture.
And I think it's just King of the Hill in general is not necessarily Quadrant's favorite. They don't like to be shackled to one position. They like to be moving. They like to be grooving. That doesn't mean they're out of this one just yet, though. Although with 2 falling, it's certainly not looking particularly pretty for Quadrant fans at the moment as Lethal puts down another double kill. Quadrant have like maybe one more push here to try and get a solid setup on this hill, and then they still have a small chance. But we're starting to look like it might be a Sentinels victory here in map number 1.
Sentinels happy to play time here. Using the hill as bait. Time is now their teammate. The 5th man. Double kill in the feed. Falcated and Spartan will pick those up. And you can see Quadrant desperately trying to close the distance, get into the hill. But Sentinels, using it as bait, continue to put down damage. And Quadrant just can't deal with the pressure.
We so often see this 5th final hill be the final hill. We very rarely get further than it because of this reason exactly. Manage to trap the other team in yard often, and then you can watch all of those angles. You don't allow them to be able to push through comfortably. With 35 seconds left on the clock, I think the writing's on the wall, especially with Lethal picking up a killing spree. Chick, the last-ditch attempt to try and get the hill, but he should fall shortly as well, as Sentinels now will be on their victory parade around Solitude.
It was only 1 year ago. Lethal was massively disrespected by the community. Look at him now, proving why. He's in that GOAT conversation, one of the greatest of all time. You can argue whether it's him, Ogre 2. One thing I know is he's definitely top 2 for me. And Falcated will continue to put down shots. 5 seconds as time dwindles away. Quadrant just didn't have enough, and Sentinels will claim game 1.
SLG just slows it down a little bit. The fist bumps all round. Job done from Sentinels. The momentum from their previous game against Shopify really starting to show through there. Quadrant were hot out the blocks with a few slays, but Sentinels just said, all right, well, we don't need to match their pace. Why are we running around like lunatics? Start setting up around some of these hills. And Quadrant just struggled to break some of those setups, and I think that is one of their main issues as a squad. Their playbook doesn't necessarily run as deep as some of the other teams in the league. But it's not all doom and gloom. We already knew that this was going to be a tough game, map and mode for the Quadrant boys. It was a predicted win for Sentinels as we look back at some of the highlights from map number 1.
That has been a criticism of Quadrant. You speak about not having so many pages in the playbook. It's what happens if plan A doesn't work well. For Quadrant, more often than not, it's let's try plan A again.
Plan A is usually a good plan for Quadrant, so it can be rinse and repeat. But it just is King of the Hill for them. I just don't think it really suits their play style. And with a new season coming around and with Extraction coming into the HCS, you'd have to imagine that could be another problem for Quadrant. So they need to find something to try and get through these setup-based game types. But up next, Slayer Streets. Very different approach you're going to need. You can play a little bit more of a flow state. You can move around the map together, but we do see a lot of squads also slow this one down. It is a slightly better map for Quadrant. They're 6-5 across the season, 5-6 on the side of Sentinels, so it's pretty even. Again, it could be one of those coin flips, and it could be series defining. If you go 2-0 down here in your Quadrant, your head starts to drop. You start to think that maybe that top 4, that top 3 that you once had is not going to be reachable here.
Quadrant have proven in the past that they are wobbleable. Is that a word? Wobbleable?
Reachable, wobbleable,
Where's that one?
lots of balls.
They find themselves down in the series here. And their ticket for Championship Sunday is in jeopardy. Sentinels knows what it takes to be playing on a Sunday. None more so than Lethal. And we're on board now with Spartan.
It was something that the desk had mentioned, the experience. When it comes to crunch time, when it comes to that clutch factor, Sentinels definitely have the upper hand. Yes, we might have seen Quadrant take down Sentinels for that top 3, that so famous top 3 that they had back in Arlington at the Optic Major. But this is the Halo World Championship. This is where there's even more prize money on the line, more pride on the line as well. And will the occasion just get a little bit too big for Quadrant? That's my biggest question that I want answered from the Quadrant boys. Find themselves 3-2 down in the early stages, but Rocket's gone wayward there. Spartan just manages to avoid it, but he's still got shut down.
It wasn't that long ago for Quadrant. Top 6, matching European history was a big deal. and it was huge, and it was almost the summit of their ambitions, but how quickly things developed. When they placed top 3, all of a sudden top 6 becomes a disappointment.
Which is crazy if you look at Quadrant. I mean, this roster, these 4 players have not finished outside of the top 6 all season. The only time we saw Quadrant outside of the top 6 was when they had to play with a substitute in the first major of the season. They have solidified themselves as a top 6 team, which, as you mentioned, was historic for Europe. But now there's always been that expectation of, well, they can go further. We've seen them go further. They can get to the top 3. They can get to the top 4. If they were to fall here, they would be disappointed with themselves. But as for Sentinels, I mean, they were top 8 last event. They fell from 2nd to top 8, and now they're competing for top 4 again. It's been a roller coaster for Sentinels. Now, boy, would they love to find themselves in a grand final, and it is a long old journey to get there. They'd have to beat down these European giants if they want to find themselves in Championship Sunday.
For the teams who find themselves in the elimination bracket, you're going to have to do it the hard way. Nobody has reset the bracket against the team in the winners final and went on to win the tournament. Everybody down there knows if they're going to win it, they're going to have to make history. Rockets in hand. Chick gets 1. It's a 3-kill game. He continues to get pressured, has to back away. The Rockets not the insurance policy he needs. And Boo Boo with a couple of spike grenades for the eye of a needle manages to take off SLG's life. 4 kills now. That rocket doesn't connect. Falcade Lethal step up. Take a stroll down the middle of the street. Pick up a couple of kills. All 4 dead now for Quadrant.
All 4 dead. Spartan starting to scream some call outs at his teammates. Let's jump into a listening with Sentinels and see what the comms are like.
That's a mid. They're pushing.
Yeah, entires. Yo, laundry on me, I think. Yeah.
Three. I'm pushing.
Yeah, PD to the right. PD.
There's one shot.
Yeah.
One shot tires, guys. Someone's music.
I'm here D weak too.
Music dead.
PD. I'm pushing caution. He's weak. It's legend.
Yo, I'm trying to spawn the purple.
Got shields. Nice.
Trying to spawn the purple, guys.
Okay.
That middle.
I'm looking C. Yo, shotty spawn.
That middle.
Yeah, I'm looking.
Mikey, I'm front A. I'm here.
I'm Ivy now.
Cafe now.
ATM on me.
I'm coming.
One shot. ATM. One shot.
Dead.
Nice.
Ivy has
I'm here.
You're alone, Jesse. You're alone.
I got him.
Yep.
Caution.
Tires. I hear that.
Yeah, I downed C1. P1. I spawned in C, guys.
He's Pete. Shot down. Mike.
I'll go for that. No more talking ammo.
Yeah, on Agent fast.
I mids.
I'm good. I can live.
I'm at B.
Two agent. Hold nest for
Tires quick. I hear that.
Plants on me.
We still hold it.
And
Tire gen.
They might push on that. Yeah, definitely. Dead end.
They could get up C stairs. They could get up C stairs.
He's still tired, Tyler.
Yeah, we should just look B.
Yeah. Yo, laundry. Wait. Two. Fire spotting me.
Yeah, P1.
Yeah, Tim. Laundry in it.
I saw ATM.
Nice.
Tires.
Yo, 10 for rockets, guys.
P1 tires.
You want now?
Get these kills for rockets. Get these kills for rockets.
See, I wasn't lying. He was screaming for a short while, but for good reason. Sentinels really starting to pile it on to Quadrant at the moment. 26, make it 27-13, and Quadrant just falling to pieces here on the main stage. Killing spree now for Boo Boo. Golden Boy told me backstage, he said, look, Sentinels are hot at the moment after their victory over Shopify, and he also was not lying.
That listening, one thing I know is when those boys are communicating like that, confidence is flowing through their veins. When Spartan starts to get loud, it's when you see the best of Sentinels. You know he's vibing. Head in a swivel here as he peeks towards his teammate's screen. Now eyes trained on Arcade. SLG will just be the beneficiary of a little bit of timing. Spartans will try and get close to his teammates once more. But for Quadrant, it's such a tough ask to get back into this game. Killing spree locked in for Spartan.
They're just too far behind as Spartan again starts to get amped up here is what we asked of him right at the start of the day when we saw Sentinels on the main stage. When it looked like maybe there was even a chance they were going to get eliminated and not even find themselves here in the top 6. Will Spartan get going? Will he start to catch fire? Because if he does, it just produces this kind of crazy element within the team where they all start to believe in themselves, they all start to get going. You heard it in the listening as well. And for Quadrant, that is bad news. When you see on the opposition team someone starting to heat up at this moment, you know it's going to be a tough series.
At the start of the series, I mentioned how this is Europe's last chance to get top 4. I was wrong. I'm used to tournament after tournament, Quadrant being the last team, but Navi are still here. They're still in the fight. That takedown phase, that's the only problem.
Yeah, they've got native red. over in that elimination bracket, and if they were to take down Native Red, then it's a matchup with FaZe. It's very terrifying side of the elimination bracket, that's for sure, but maybe still hope for Europe, even if Quadrant were to go down here. It's looking pretty dim in map number 2 for Quadrant, but rockets in hand for Chick. Down by 13, make it 12. Is there still any sort of life here?
Quadrant looks shell-shocked right now. SLG gets another kill. Chick will connect with the rocket. And is this an avenue to explore, to get back into this game and the series? Stalker rifle. Sprays at a red room from Spartan. He'll change angle now, he drops down, but it's straight to his demise, and a killing spree for Chick this time. Been trying to match the exploits of Spartan, but just whiffs the melee. 3 dead for Sentinels for a moment. It's a 9-kill game. Still some hope here.
We have seen comebacks of around 8 to 9 kills happen already in this tournament. With how Spartan's playing, 15 kills at the moment. Are they even going to allow Quadrant a chance here? It's still up by 9. Assault rifle for Falcated to work with. And they're just hunting down Quadrant at the moment. And that's the worrying sign. When it gets to this stage of the game where you can play with this kind of confidence, there's never really going to be a chance of a comeback.
Spartan gets one elsewhere, SLG down. Seems to be a matter of when, not if. Sentinels win game 2 and are 1 game away from progression and dumping Quadrant out of the competition.
Is this going to be the end of the season for Quadrant? It's been such a historic one for them. It made a lot of European fans happy, but now they will have to reverse sweep this Sentinels roster if they want to find themselves within that top 4 and keep their chances alive of competing at the Halo World Championship on Championship Sunday. It was a very one-sided affair here on Streets, which we've seen before. We've seen Quadrant struggle on Streets. And it just seems like if you allow a player like Spartan to have that much freedom to be taking the amount of gunfights he did in 1v1 scenarios, then you're probably going to be looking at a result like this. You have to take 2v1s, you have to try and not allow Spartan to have that freedom. But when you look at those damage stats, it was Falcated, it was Lethal who were laying down the foundations for Spartan to move around the map in the way that he did.
We harp on how big a factor momentum is. Quadrant now down 2. It's been all one-way traffic. 3-1, King of the Hill Solitude, 50-36. They couldn't even get over the 40-point threshold. And with oddball recharge on the horizon, Dan, please tell me there's some good news.
This is probably Quadrant's worst oddball.
That's not good news.
Map. It is one of Sentinel's best oddball maps. Now,
Eyes immediately switch back to our main stage action. Quadrant up against Sentinels. Reminder, Sentinels hold a 2-0 lead.
So Na'Vi competing for top 6, Quadrant competing for top 4. European Halo is well and truly on the map in the international scene. And both teams doing their region proud. But is it going to be the end here for Quadrant? They find themselves 2-0 down, and it's oddball recharge that's coming up. I mentioned it earlier, one of Quadrant's worst game types on oddball, but one of Sentinel's best. They ranked 3rd in this league. It's not looking good.
When I asked for good news and you didn't give it to me, I can now see it's in front of me, it's plain as day.
But it's also another thing that I was talking about when we look at these maps and modes. It's another very setup heavy map and mode, recharge ball. You get that ball into gold or an elevator and you set up around it. This is great for Sentinels. Whereas Quadrant, they want to be moving, they want to be getting behind, they want to be flanking, they want to be rotating as a team. Strongholds fits them perfectly, but when it comes to ball, when it comes to King of the Hill, sometimes they can be a little bit lackluster in areas. We'll have to see whether they can maybe change that narrative and show what they're made of as we head into game 3 here on the main stage.
Series layout seemed to favor Sentinels, and they're proving that here. I have a bone to pick with a man named Richie Hines. I told him I needed 5 Strongholds games back-to-back in this series. He told me to shut up.
Quite rightly so as well. I'm sure Sentinels fans wouldn't have been enjoying that one. A hot start for Quadrant. They're able to get an opening few kills here. It's an unfortunate push. Lethal really wanted to shut down that player in pipes, but if you try and push pipes and there's someone holding top cat, you're very rarely going to be able to survive.
3 dead for Sentinels. Quadrant have the ball. SLG holding gold. Putting down damage. Spartan cannot push now. Damage done was enough. Legend gets the opener. Down to no shield. It's going to be traded out. Spartan has about 2 bursts worth of life. Boo Boo Doo Boo has also got a trade elsewhere, 3 dead. Falcated, top elevator, and a 1v1 now with Sika, who tries to get the trade and does so successfully. The spawns are going to be so important, and Legends all the way over towards pipes.
They need to start pushing as a unit here, Quadrant. They're so good when they start to get into a flow state and when they get going. You've got to remember, they've now lost 5 maps in a row. If you also count the 3 maps they lost to SSG just prior in the winners bracket, momentum is very much not on their side. You've got to flip that script, and sometimes you need your star player to pop off, and that is Legend. He is the guy that everyone's been talking about, individually so talented. Can he be the one just to raise the roof a little bit here and keep Quadrant's hopes alive?
SLG, the experienced Frenchman, no stranger to the world stage. This will be his highest ever placement at the Halo World Championship. Of course, last year had to watch from home as Quadrant fumbled and didn't qualify. What a difference a year can make to the complexion of your career. Ball played. Booba Doobu, 1v1 with Chick with camouflage, but Chick wins the fight. They need more of that.
Yeah, they need to be winning their individual engagements. I think it's something that's let them down at times. They're great when they're a pair or a 3, but you're going up against some of the best players in the world in 1v1s. It's what happened against Space Station. You know, SSG, some of the most individually talented players that you will see in the HCS, and if you try and take them blow for blow in individual fights, it's very rarely going to go well. And the same can be said for some of these Sentinels players as well. So much experience, so much Halo history on this roster, but at the moment, Quadrant are doing very well just to keep them at bay, getting good ball time, playing it when they need to. It's a solid start for them.
49 seconds to 0, to be exact. 2 dead once more for Sentinels. Quadrant are managing this one perfectly. Falcated in towards pipes, faced with Legend. The Starboy comes out on top this time, shutting down his counterpart. Falcated is expected to do the damage and make the difference, as is Legend. So pivotal in both their team's successes. But Legend still positioned top gold. They're happy to play this one patiently and not make mistakes, not hand Sentinels the initiative.
Doesn't seem to be any panic for the side of Quadrant. They seem to have calmed themselves down. Maybe that little bathroom break after map 2 just allowed them to mentally reset a little bit. You can see it in their BR fights. I mean, Legend was not phased at all there by the push from Falcated. And Chick also winning that individual engagement down at bottom blue just shows that I think they've reset a little bit. But finally we get to see what Sentinels can do with this ball. It's not going to be a chance at a proper setup just yet. They need a couple more slays before that can happen. It's a poor man's setup over towards Longhall. They want to just get this ball over towards blue to at least go for a subpar setup.
Falcated tasked with keeping blue safe. He was good for a trade. 3 dead though, lethal. Will make it all 4 dead. Chick gets the kill and the camouflage, the boot.
Enemy has the ball.
It was a poor man setup, but it was broken wide open pretty easily. Chick now shots down on gold stairs. 2 members contest him at battle edge. He backs away, stays alive, keeps the camo in the fight.
Chick with 12 kills at the moment, Seeker with 11, and I do think it's important that these Quadrant players do take the pressure off of Legend a little bit. As their main slayer, we know what Chick can do. We've seen the highlight reels that have been put throughout the HCS and his experience and what he can achieve. 12 more seconds, a nice position he's taken as well. He should be able to be rewarded with a kill and an assist, which he will. And now Sentinels may just have to accept this round could be over as SLGs just needs to dance. A merry dance off the map into the water. And it's going to be 1-0. Quadrant will take the lead. And that is going to do wonders just to reset them mentally.
Round 2. Fight. SLG in blue. Chick, just moments ago, under the stairs like Harry Potter. Providing a little bit of magic for these Quadrant boys. Seeking now will take down Sparty. Puts a couple of shots, make it 1 shot into lethal. Who will get the trade. Maybe that's a wake-up call for Sentinels. Camouflage now. Needs to make a difference.
Yeah, Boo Boo struggling a little bit at the moment, trying to go for a few flanks, and he's been spotted out by Quadrant. It was similarly to what I was saying on Solitude with Seeker. When you're that player who's just trying to move around on your own a little bit, if you start to get caught out and spotted out, your stats start to show. And it looks very negative, but Boo Boo's trying to make plays for his team. You're trying to be that difference maker, and that's what I'm talking about. Making sure you finish the damage that your team has done as he turns it into a double. And that's one way to start to turn your game around.
We're looking for more. Has to get out of dodge though, down to no shields. Looks for the comfort, the sanctuary of his teammates. Drops on ball, scoops it up, starts to juggle it. Thought about going bottom elevator, but the calls come to bring it blue. They now have the option to play it if they need to. Plasma grenade scooped up. We know how they can be. Spartan now, surveying the land. Here comes Seek It. Valkyrie calling for help. It will come, but not in time. And it's now Sentinels who've had a perfect start. It's them who have a 35-second lead.
I think it's smart moving it over towards blue here as well. Obviously, you can throw the ball off, but what Quadrant have been doing well, or what they did well in round one, was when they retrieved that ball, they turned it into a setup very quickly. You deny that if you're over towards blue. Spartan has his hands on the shock rifle. Bad news, though, for Quadrant.
An update from the other game on the B stream. Navi has won the oddball game against Native Red. They're ahead in the series. 2 more of those. And that could be their best placement, matching the top 6 of the Fabi roster long ago.
Yeah, I'm sure that would do wonders for all of their confidence as well. It's been a long old season for Navi. They've been in the shadow of Quadrant for the entirety of it. And all those records they had once set, some of those players, the likes of Jimbo, they were all whipped away by Quadrant. As Chick shuts down Lethal. 55 seconds ahead are Sentinels. They're looking to try and add a little bit more there as Boo Boo quickly just has a little touch of the ball, but realizes he needs to probably drop and slay because Chick's starting to approach.
Chick's on the hunt. Backs away after doing some good damage. Recognizing he's a little bit exposed and could be the opening pick. Seek is falling elsewhere though. He needs to get himself back into the fight as quickly as he can. Boo Boo though, and Falcade will fall to the battle rifle of Chick. Not quite Kentucky Fried Chicken. It's French fried. 3 dead for Sentinels.
Still no ball time though. Sentinels doing really well at just frustrating Quadrant, not allowing them to get an easy touch. It's a double for Spartan. And instead of just getting desperate to look for more, it's small things, small minor details like that, that quick toss of the ball, allowing Sentinels just to get Boo Boo into pipes and get those extra seconds on the board. They can be the difference makers at times to just give you the round.
Sentinels continue to make this an ugly one for Quadrant, a difficult one. Scrapping so many seconds of ball time. Legends has the ball over towards glass, but only now has he decided to scoop it up. Only now does he feel comfortable to start getting some time, eating away at that significant lead the Sentinels have built.
It was something I had mentioned it, I think it was yesterday during the tournament. Quadrant, often it is Legend who is the ball carrier, or it was at Fort Worth anyway. He was the one who played the objective, which was a little bit of a surprise considering the slaying statistics that came out from him as well. Maybe that could be the key to success here, is him also getting involved in some objective time, because they are 50 down.
Enemy has the ball.
Seeker gets a double though. Legend again back on that ball as Spartan's now just trying to have a little sneak around.
Seeker caught unaware. 4 shots straight to the visor. He'll be calling out his last known position, but he's no longer there as he doubles back once more. Legend gets one of the pipes. The collapse is coming from Sentinels. The Frenchman was forced to play the ball down towards batteries. Shock rifle. This is bad news, Bears, if you're a Quadrant fan. Sentinels continue to pile on the pressure. 2 kills go in their favor. And it appears as though 2 members have dropped out of the lobby.
Enemy has the ball.
And we'll have to get that one sorted, as it was a lead for Sentinels, so we'll wait for admin ruling, but I imagine we'll restart with X amount to play and X amount of points needed for Sentinels, and then a full for Quadrant. But Quadrant were 1-0 up overall.
Getting confirmation, Sentinels will need 62 points. Quadrant needing the full 100. So as it stands, Sentinels hold the advantage in round 2, while Quadrant holds a 1-0 round lead. And will this next map determine whether it's being pushed on, or will it be game, set, and match? Because Sentinels look very strong. We now switch sides then. Both teams, one spawning elevator. It's going to be Quadrant spawning over towards Long Haul. Spartans immediately got eyes for the ball. All 4 dead for Quadrant. Things looking rosy for the boys in red.
I was about to say the starting strategy is going to be a big indicator of how this round is going to go. Sentinels had started very strong in round 2, and they've done exactly the same here in the reset. Boo has camo and shock. This is going to be bad news, but Quadrant at least were able to wrestle back that ball. And one of the things with Quadrant being down by the lead that Sen have, they know they have to be a little bit more urgent about their objective play, and that might help them here.
Boo's got ball again. Already got 10 points to 62 they need. Boo is patrolling with the shock rifle. We know he can hit the shots. Chick just baiting out one. He won't find a home this time. The Quadrant has to get close. They have no time to dilly-daddle here.
Great map awareness there from Boo. He sensed that someone was challenging over from control, and that usually means there's a player who's trying to approach you from glass. So he walked out, didn't face control, instead immediately faced Legend. Didn't take him down, but was very close to doing so. Legend's just slowly walking his way up on Boo and does get rewarded. 3 go down for Sen. It was a very slow and methodical approach from Quadrant, but they have managed to just break through.
Quadrant need an almost flawless hold here if they're to win round 2. Push this series to a game 4. Seeka's fallen while trying to rotate. That's some slide looking like Sol Campbell in his prime. SLG will get close to the ball again. It's going to be traded out. And these trades will benefit Sentinels every single time.
That was a soccer reference, by the way, for you Americans. You just alienated an entire nation.
I'm okay with it.
31-11. Sentinels halfway there.
You just said soccer. I don't know if I can look at you.
Because I tried not to alienate an entire nation. 31-11, and it's looking comfortable for Sentinels, but Quadrant are doing very well to deny the strong setup as SLG gets a big kill onto Spartan, but Falcated, as he always is, listening to callouts to try and sweep up any kills, but not able to do so on SLG. He was managing the map very well to dance around that pillar.
Sen require 31. Quadrant, they get kills, it gets traded out, but they can't get control in this round 2. Sentinels continue to make life difficult, get the kills at important times, and just take the steam out of the Quadrant engine. Another kill goes the way of Sentinels here. It's 2 dead apiece. As Spartan tried to get close to the ball, Chick shuts him down, but even he still can't get hands on to eat away at this lead.
Chick could probably do with grabbing this grapple just so that he can then stay alive and potentially grapple that ball away into pipe shortly after, but there's a lot of steps there. And instead, he's just going to say, you know what, screw it. I'll take the risk. I've seen kills go in my favor and go in my way. So Quadrant now have a chance to set up. Sentinel's going to be spawning over towards Elevator, but there is already an aggressive stance from Legend. He's taking that fight against them, which is going to give Quadrant a little bit of ball time, but Legend now goes down, so Sentinels can push out.
2 beautiful nades. Ow. Spin up. Take SLG right out of his boots. Lethal slides in, hits the shots. So much confidence flowing through his veins. Still challenging on half shields. Seeka looks to re-engage. Lethal's making a meal of it, making it a very difficult kill. Seeka eventually gets the job done, but buying so much time for his team to push forward here. Spartan's in a precarious spot, but somehow finds the visor of Seeka. When these shots start to go against you, Quadrant really starting to think maybe it's not their day.
Quadrant doing well at shutting 2 or 3 down at a time, though. You just have to be very careful of this shot clock. 1 minute 55 left. SLG will fall, but it's again, it's a 2 trade. Chick has camo. He's being patient, but Falcated, he sniffed him out. He'll be all 4 dead if he falls, which he will. Seeka last remaining player, but he has the ball. This is good time for Quadrant.
Seeka had the whole map to himself for a moment. Game's not so hard when it's like that.
Quite peaceful, actually.
51 seconds now and climbing. Reminder, they need the full 100 there to win the game. The Sentinels only require 31 more. Ball has been played here. Seeka tries to get a kill, but Spartan and Booba will combine to ensure that will not be an eventuality. 3 dead for a moment for Quadrant now.
It's a good hold from Quadrant. Playing it over towards blue just to make sure that they can get that ball off the map. A little game of hot potato, just keep it away from Sentinels. Boo now trying to make that flank. Again, he's the player who is trying to disrupt any sort of setup from Quadrant. Manages to get one. To spawn over towards Elevator. Now, Sentinels, they can play this in several different ways. They are still technically ahead right now.
You went silent so you can do the maths. Is that what's happened there?
No, it was a fact.
Okay, no, well, I thought you were trying to do the maths and work out just how much they were ahead.
I didn't need to do
I'm
that.
not going to do it.
Now you put me on the spot.
Yeah. There's only 53 seconds left in the round. The kill's gone in the favor of Sentinels. Spartan picks up yet another to add to his tally. 13 kills for Spartan. Falcate with 11. Boo now has got his hands on the ball once more as they close in on the lead. Again, Quadrant have got to go here or the round's going to slip through their fingers.
Sentinels only need 12 more. Boo holds strong. 2 go down. Make it 3 for Quadrant, and this might just be the round here for the Sen roster. Maybe one last quick push, but it doesn't look like anyone's in sight. Just a couple more seconds, and Sentinels will take round number 2, and we're tied up 1-1 here in oddball on recharge. And that worryingly means Quadrant are 1 round away from being eliminated from this tournament.
Pacing is such a big factor, and we've seen that in this game. You spoke about how Sentinels love to play setups. They're setup heavy, they play a little bit slower, and they invite pressure on. And they seem to be setting traps for Quadrant, who are stepping into it every single time.
Well, not only do they kind of set traps and they can play at a certain pace, Boo has been playing in a way that I think is unexpected from Quadrant. He almost isolates himself a little bit. He plays away from his teammates at times, and he's happy to play that flanking role. Because you've got a static nature of his 3 teammates, Quadrant are just expecting someone to maybe be positioned top gold, for example, but suddenly Boo will then fly out of blue and surprise you from behind, and then that's when Sentinels pick their chance to try and push. As we're into round 3, tied up 1-1, Quadrant's last chance to try and stay alive in this tournament. As for Sentinels, top 4 starting to ring in their ears now.
One more round for Quadrant to prolong their season. For Sentinels, what a statement this would be. To beat the European champions in Quadrant, the heavyweights, to put them to the sword, but with emphatic fashion, a 3-0. What a statement it would be. They could roll into Sunday full of confidence. And they are the ones who got hands on ball again, and they continue to score. They continue to look dominant against the French team.
And if you consider what some of these Sentinels players have gone through as well, I mean, they were down in the top 12 at one point this season. They had to go through many a team change to try and find something that would work. And he had the highs of Salt Lake City of 2nd place. Can they break into the top 4 again here? Remember, at the Halo World Championship, that's when it's the big boy prize money. That's when all that cheddar starts to come to fruition. As for Quadrant, are they just going to succumb to a top 6, or have they got anything left in the tank? A shake of the head from Chick as he goes down. Sen, they have the lead, and they've got the ball. 1 player remains from Quadrant, but nowhere to be seen is Seeker, as he's just trying to wait for teammates. He's trying to wait for a little bit of help.
I've spoken to Clutch about this. When you see your teammates starting to nod their heads like that, it's not something you ever want to see, because all of a sudden you start to think to yourself, is he not up for the fight anymore? Has he already resigned to losing this game? Kills continue to go against them. Boo Doo has hands on ball. They have goal pipes. He tried to play the ball. It looked as though someone might have caught it, but it managed to get down there anyway. Goalkeeper gloves were not applied. 2 dead for Quadrant here. 29-point lead, and Boo is just going to scoop it up again.
I mean, talking of like a shake of the head, that mentality, even though the best of players will say that it doesn't really faze them, that seed is always going to be planted in the back of your mind of, well, what if I lose this next fight? Is this going to lose us the game? Is this going to lose us the series? Are we going to be out? And as soon as your brain is starting to focus on those things, that's less brain power going towards a fight, going towards a rotation. And you can't allow too much brain power to go towards it, but it feels like Quadrant at the moment, they're just being outgunned by Sentinels in areas. They're being out-rotated. They're being outplayed by this Sen roster.
Enemy has the ball. Ball dropped.
57-second lead then. Quadrant have it all to do. They're gonna have to do it the hard ways. Boo somehow, some way, strong sides down long haul and stays alive. Little moments like that continue to go against Quadrant. They can't find the headshot. And Sentinels continue to apply and mount the pressure.
Ball does get played at the very least, so Sentinels push isn't going to reward them with ball time just yet as SLG gets a double. Nice placement of that sticky grenade over towards the sneaky. And he's on the hunt, wants to find Falcated, but ammo is going to be against him, so he has to trade with the melee.
Into pipes we go. On board with Spartan. 2 members of Quadrant to contend with. Lethal will get a double kill. We'll get back smacked along the way though. 2 dead apiece. Falcate goes down. An opportunity now for Quadrant to hold a pipe setup. They're opting instead to bring it to elevator. Legend down to no shields. Boo Boo gets the opening pick but falls. Here comes Spartan over the top catwalk. Seeker's in big trouble. Another kill for Spartan. 2 dead apiece.
Notice how Sentinels are not allowing Quadrant to get that setup. They are not slow about their push. Off spawn, they're engaging straight away. Boo Boo sent himself in bottom whirlpool. Then we saw Spartan fly over catwalk, and Lethal winning that engagement against Legend. Means that yes, okay, Quadrant still have that ball, but they are constantly down in numbers. They are constantly running. They are fleeing with their tails between their legs, and Sentinels can continue to take advantage of the map control they have. It's another camouflage for them to work with.
Camo for free. Ball in pipes.
Enemy has the ball.
2 members of Quadrant positioned over towards long haul. Lethal will get a fresh spawner. It's a 1-2 Uniflu. Still a bit of camouflage to play with as well. Boo Boo will whisk the ball away towards blue. Chicken hot pursuit, but getting tagged up on his way.
Ball dropped.
They just need 29 more seconds to eliminate the Europeans.
Ball dropped.
And they continue to hold strong.
And we are seeing a Sentinels who are absolutely locked in and focused and looking at their very best. We knew they were capable of this from Salt Lake City at the SSG Invitational when they got to that grand final, when they were just swatting teams away like flies. And Quadrant may just be another one being splattered against the window. 76-19. What do Quadrant have left here? A couple more pushes may be left in the tank, as it's 1 minute 38 left on the clock, so time is very much against the European team.
If they're going to do it,
Nearing victory.
they're going to have to produce something special here. It'll have to be flawless from here on out. 2 dead for Sentinels, but it's 2 dead for Quadrant. A trade. It benefits Sentinels once more. Boo Boo's got more ball. 90 seconds now to 19. 10 more required. And even if Quadrant get their hands on the ball, there's only 1 minute and 24 on the shot clock.
And notice how Boo Boo wasn't desperate for ball time. He knew that staying alive and doing some damage would be far more important here for Sentinels. They don't have to force this one. They can make Quadrant try and make a play as Legend tosses it down bottom middle, but he goes down. Boo Boo's going to be there to pick up this ball. Seeker, though, makes one last stand as he takes the challenge, but Spartan's going to be there waiting. Sentinels trying to play the time, trying to use that clock to their advantage. SLG has a camouflage. Quadrant's tournament's very much on the line now. And as you said, it has to be something special, something magic.
One last ditch effort then. As SLG picks up an unofficial triple kill. Falcade in the crosshairs as well. 3 dead for Sentinels.
Ball dropped.
They've got ball, but all of a sudden he's isolated and they've got long haul spawns have Sentinels. Chicken in a fight for his life in there in blue. Killing spree. 4 dead for a moment for Sentinels. Seeker's got hands on ball. There's still a chance. There's still life in this series.
So you're telling me there's a chance? And do Quadrant believe it? It has to be a perfect setup. Will Sentinels panic a little bit? They've got the experience. They've been here before. They know what to do in these scenarios. Boo Boo gets the damage done, but he's not able to pick up a kill. Chick gets 1. Legend also picks up another. 3 go down for Sen. Falcated, last remaining player yet again, but he has to flee. The time starting to tick up as Quadrant really giving this one a go in these final moments.
Ball dropped. Enemy has the
35 seconds required. Tie this game up. But every single time Quadrant are forced to drop the ball, it benefits Sentinels. Because they know they just need 1 break of a setup here. They just need to force Quadrant to play the ball 1 more time.
enemy has the ball.
SLG continues to hold, and the slaves are going in their favor. Falcade down blue pipes. Has he just leaked through? Do they have the information? 2 dead now for a moment. They don't have the information. Falcade with the play of the game. Gets one, gets two here. Ball has been played.
What a play from Falcated that may have just won the game here for Sentinels. Deflated looks on the faces of Quadrant. Someone has to go for that ball.
Someone, anyone has to get close. There's no one inside. Zika tries desperately to get there. Will not be making it. Sentinels progress. Quadrant going home.
Twice Falcated was the last remaining player and he was unable to sneak through, but third time was a charm. Gets behind enemy lines, the back-to-backs, the ball beats played, and it was enough to win the game. Quadrant really gave it a good go in the final moments, but just left it a little bit too late. And unfortunately for the European Giants in a historic HCS season, the best HCS season we've ever seen from a European team, it will come to an end and it will come to the demise of Sentinels, who now find themselves back in that top 4.
Quadrant brought to a grinding halt. A lot to be proud of this year. But top 4 at the World Championship was a step too far. The experience on that stage, opposite them, proved to win the day here. They iced up, and what a play from Falcade to win that game in the final moments.
Experience is everything in Sentinels. They ooze experience. And I'll tell you what, they still have a chance to disrupt things in this tournament. It's top 4 secured, but is there even more possible for them? They've still got the likes of Na'Vi and FaZe in the elimination bracket, and then of course, in the winners finals, SSG and Optic Gaming, one of them will be dropping to that elimination bracket tomorrow. As for Quadrant, again, hats off to all 4 of those players and everyone involved in that organization. What an amazing season it has been, and it might feel like a deflating one with this loss right now, but they have to think about what they've done. They've broke records, and they have changed European Halo forever.
Heads down, dejected, as they clear the stage, taking a look at the damage, the kills, all the carnage. And you can see Spartan and Falcated. Lethal had 7k damage as well, but look at Falcated, 8,673. He was the difference maker.
I think Falcated is often the unsung hero for every team he's been involved with. The amount of damage that he can output, the amount of slaying power he has, I mean, there's often other teams, other players that take the plaudits off of him, but you can see there the stats do not lie, and also that play that he made at the end of that game. I mean, we very easily could have seen Quadrant hold on without it. They could have won that map, and then you go into CTF Empyrean, into Slayer Aquarius, and I'd start to think, okay, maybe there is a chance for Quadrant. What an impressive 3-0 that was from Sentinels, and they find themselves in the top 4.
Another top 4 performance for Sentinels, but like you say, as they're on that stage, is there more for this team? Is there another chapter they can turn to?
Well, I think that certainly with the way that they've been playing, the win against Shopify, the win against Quadrant, they are looking hot at the moment. And yes, it's going to be a little bit of a downside that they have to wait until tomorrow. I'm sure they would love to play a game this evening against one of the teams whilst they have that momentum. But unfortunately, they're going to have to wait till tomorrow, but they are into the top 4.
One thing I know is Lottie and the 2 boys have a lot to break down. Take it away.
2 boys, you say, Shell? I have 2 men up on my desk.
Lottie, when did you get so tall?
When did you honestly get your ankles snapped? Because you are so small there. Welcome to the desk, Golden Boy, Unushek. Lovely to see you guys. Tell you what, though, Sentinels, boy oh boy, on absolute fire right now. And you know what, Golden Boy, that's exactly what having momentum does for you, confidence and belief, and that's exactly what we just witnessed in that series. Incredible.
Yeah, we saw it in the, I had an opportunity to cast that, the match beforehand. I believe it was Sentinels versus, oh man, I'm drawing a blank on it because
was it Native White?
No, but I did cast that one too. Oh,
Shopify.
That's what it was. Sorry, Mental, I apologize. But yeah, like, you know, and in that game, it was very clear, like this Sentinels team is hitting. Right, Boobadooboo's making all the right plays. Spartan is on fire. Lethal has just been the great all-around player that this team desperately needs. And Falcated is just so damn good in those pivotal moments. I think the Sentinels team is on par to make a really wild run, and I think the remaining field needs to watch out for them.
I think they certainly do indeed, and I think that's the beauty of, I think, the competition at the moment is that a lot of our teams here are absolutely incredible and are lights out when they need to be.